Chapter 6. Patience is Success. Predictors of success. Those who steer clear of failure often miss out on the opportunities that lead to success. Embracing challenges and learning from failures is a crucial path to achieving success. Everyone must choose one of two pains: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. I don't waste time because each day passed is a day never recovered. What are the few predictors of success? The capacity to delay your gratification, IQ, and a personality high in conscientiousness. All the good things in life we crave require sacrifice. You are rewarded with a dopamine kick, the feel-good chemical produced in your brain after achieving goals after giving up something valuable. Patience and change lead to success. Stagnating in a dead-end job or your character can lead to neurosis. You know when a life situation is full of potential when you're excited to see your future self accomplishing a specific goal. Dopamine is released when you are approaching a meaningful or valuable goal. You know the future ahead of you clearly. You feel meaning. There are two types of people: those who make sacrifices, delay their gratification, and those who are filled with resentment and bitterness for not making the proper sacrifices and envy others. But I know realistically it is not that extreme or black and white, since there's a gray area. One can become bitter and envious towards others by falling into pitfalls. Pitfalls include choosing the wrong major to study, making the wrong sacrifices, choosing the wrong career, chasing money rather than meaning, conforming to the virtues your parents told you to nurture but you disagree with, and not chasing after your dreams. Doing things you hate will make you resentful and bitter. I learned from working at a hospital and seeing so many nurses and doctors that their personalities did not fit the job. Success requires us to replace faulty habits with healthy ones. It requires sacrifice and replacing bad attitudes with realistic and positive ones. Do you want shortcuts to make your life better? Then replace alcohol with water, failing with learning, overthinking with action, blaming with responsibility, toxic friends with mentors, complaining with gratitude, media entertainment with sleep, and going out partying with exercise. Your habits will determine if you become a pitiful loser or an admirable winner. Persist in pursuing your dreams regardless of the time it might take to achieve them. Time will elapse regardless, so investing it in the pursuit of your aspirations ensures progress and potential success. Those who are successful have an aim and ambition. This is what turns the world into a potentially positive place for them. The higher the aim, the more positive the emotion. The higher the risk, the higher the reward. But why should you bother doing something challenging that takes time and frustration? Because it's worth it. The alternative to having an ambitious goal and getting positive emotion is unnecessary suffering through overindulgence in pleasures. Not having order or structure is the default position. Life is short and complex. Some can understand, while others are ignorant. The best we can do is work with the tools we have and make the best framework possible. You know the framework works for you when it yields positive emotion and meaning, when your character grows stronger. Making yourself useful to others in whatever way possible is an excellent way to begin. What is your alternative, sitting around in your mom's basement playing video games for 50 years? No one will come and save you when you're as helpless as a baby. Why wouldn't you want to aspire to the highest good? Out of fear of failure? Well, maybe. But you're more inclined to be lazy and avoid responsibility than to be afraid of the highest possibilities, especially with new generations that expect instant gratification for not doing anything useful. People also disguise their envy towards the successful by virtue signaling and trying to make them feel guilty for being at the top of the hierarchy. People earn their way up. It's difficult to climb up and easy to go down. People go through some hard shit to earn their status, and unfortunately some like to rub it on the face of others. But the humble don't do that, and instead teach others to climb the ladder so they can get ahead in life. That's admirable. Those who don't want to climb the ladder think they will make the world a better place by destroying the ladder. Success in spades. Successful people know that good things take time, but the spoiled want everything hard-earned and the highest rewards instantly. If you're like this, here's a blunt truth. You need to understand that the world doesn't owe you shit. Stop feeling so entitled. You're worthless till you become valuable. If you are not living, you are just dying. Time flies, so don't work yourself to death. Work and enjoy your money when you have built your wealth. Learn to control power, your emotions, instead of letting them control you. Thinking and doing are not the same thing. Being busy doesn't mean you are doing anything worthwhile. Everyone you know will eventually die, including yourself. Your urgent problems won't matter 5 years from now. Money, family, and success can make you happy, since success gives you options but won't last forever, so make each day count. People compete against each other for the best jobs and environments to live in. You must earn it because it won't be given to you. The poor stay poor because they never try to learn how to use new tools, don't learn new skills, don't build discipline, creativity, and hard work. The kid who bought his own Toyota is more successful than the one who was bought his BMW by his family. Pay attention and be warned. If you're not happy when you're poor, you will not be happy when you're rich. I will repeat it again. If you're not happy when you're poor, you will not be happy when you're rich. Happiness is internal. It is your outlook towards. It occurs when your expectations meet your reality. Poor people waste money on beauty products, the latest tech, addictions, drinking, partying, restaurants, and expensive cars they can't afford. And in the end, those empty pleasures end up controlling them. Don't fall into this trap and vicious cycle. Compound interest is the concept where you not only earn interest on the initial amount of money you've saved, but also on the accumulated interest over time, allowing your savings to grow exponentially. But it can also be applied to all your actions. Let's take the example of replacing drinking alcohol with going to the gym. Let's assume that you go to the bar every weekend with your buddies to have a good time. You spend 2 to 3 hours at the club with your friends, but do it twice per week, which is equivalent to 4 to 6 hours per week of the party. And assuming that you bought some drinks, then you're spending $40 per week, which is equivalent to $160 per month on drinks. If you have these habits, do that math at your level, because not everyone parties the same. After you have punched in the numbers, subtract that from your paycheck. Is going to the bar worth that amount of time and money for you? Here's a cheat code to know what you truly value. Are you willing to pay for it? And if so, how much for it? Yes? Okay, then you place that thing into a hierarchy of value. Do you value your body? You may say, well, yes. Oh yeah? Well, what do you do to take care of your body? Are you eating healthy? You show up to the gym 4 to 5 days a week to stay active and fit? Are you even able to see your Johnson? If you are putting alcohol, which is a toxin for your body, do you truly value your body? No, you don't. Stop bullshitting yourself. I often asked myself in my youth, why do people do drugs and drink alcohol so often? I arrived at the conclusion that it was because certain individuals cannot obtain happiness from life itself. They cannot find peace in the human experience. They cannot justify their suffering or transcend their pain to something higher than themselves. Some individuals need a stimulant to give them what they can't have or will not earn, like happiness. But we all know that people deceive themselves to believe that their poison is happiness and pleasure. You know you're too deep into your addiction when you're with a group of people you love, and you still take a hit of your poison of choice. You are willing to trade your health for a good time of false confidence and impulsive behaviors according to your actions. However, here's the kicker. If you apply compound interest to your unhealthy habits, you will predict your future easily. So if you do the club every weekend, that's 52 weekends per year, which is 104 days per year, assuming you only drink on the weekends. You are placing poison in your body for 104 days. Now multiply that by 5 years of having the same unhealthy habits. That is equivalent to 520 days of putting poison in your body. And that's not even counting the money wasted in those 5 years. Now, if we do the opposite scenario with showing up to the gym for 5 years, it would be equivalent to the same amount of hours, but just split into different days for the week. As for your diet, you built an impressive physique and maintain it to reach the true potential of your genetics. Do you want to look like a strong mythological Achilles or a beautiful Venus or like a hamburger? I chose Achilles because it gives a lean physique and a longer life expectancy. Simply put, the easiest way to improve your life is to stop making stupid mistakes. If you have too many problems to count, then break them down. Make a to-do list and break it down into difficulties and deadlines, and organize and make an order of everything that bothers you. You will see that most problems are manageable. Understanding the concept of compound interest will change your life. You master an art, skill, or practice by admitting you're a fool and need to change. If you're unwilling to accept that, you will stagnate and die without becoming worth anything. You move up the hierarchy by mastering skills you're ignorant of. Pick your pain. Accepting that you need to change allows you to do great things. For example, there's no shortage of sick people. Perhaps you think that helping people who are in dire need may give your life meaning. Maybe you wish to be a registered nurse, but you don't know if you will enjoy the profession, so you begin as an EMT. You then experience how much the lives of others are worse than yours. It makes you grateful for what you have. After years of school, you become a registered nurse and adopt greater responsibility, even with a better salary. Things begin to look better after you work on yourself for a long time. The perfect partner comes along, and she's willing to negotiate the terms of marriage. You attracted them because like attracts like. A successful partner wants her partner to be successful. This is just a tiny example of how small changes in life lead to a major life change. But notice how everything begins when you decide to make a positive change in life. A small positive change acts as a catalyst for success. If not for the desire to help sick people, you would not have married an ideal partner who saw value in you. The sense of meaning depends on how much responsibility you're willing to take on. The more weight, the more dopamine kicks. Do you want better access to romantic partners and good, successful friends? Then work on yourself. And they will come. You will attract them like moths to a flame. People are curious creatures. People would want to interact with and befriend me simply because I have an impressive, naturally fit physique. Suddenly, the only Hollywood actors have access to those bodies mentality was shattered. It was proof that a humble, mediocre, run-of-the-mill boy could look like young Hercules. What would have become of Hercules if there had been no lion, hydra, stag, or boar, and no savage criminals to rid the world of? What would he have done in the absence of such challenges? He would have just rolled over in bed and gone back to sleep. So, by snoring his life away in luxury and comfort, he would never have developed into the mighty Hercules. And even if he had, what good would it have done him? What would have been the use of those arms, that physique, and that noble soul without crises or conditions to stir into him action? Epictetus, The Discourses. The game of life. Fairness matters for both kids and adults. It's not just about winning, it's also about how you play the game. This principle applies not only to games but to life as a series of interconnected games. The key is to balance individual victories with overall success. Playing properly means being invited to participate in various games, and success comes from demonstrating reciprocal play, even when victory is at stake. Jordan Peterson emphasizes that this approach leads to long-term success. In my experience, this took place in a hospital. I was not only working at the hospital to work for skills, but to learn medical knowledge from medical staff. I befriend successful people by sharing common hobbies, interests, and passions. I had the opportunity to teach music composition to my registered nurse hero, inspiring me to pursue nursing. I got to remember what it felt like to play a video game with a friend as a child again. I got to train people because they wanted to better themselves mentally and physically. I had the privilege to do a lot of social networking. We all wanted to play the same set of games of success because we had the same goals. They invited me, and I invited them to play. This formed many successful connections. I learned a lot from leaders in their respective fields. One needs to be a leader, but what makes a good leader? Self-awareness. Know yourself to lead effectively, understand strengths and weaknesses, and grasp how others perceive you. Strengthen self-awareness through exploration. Respect. Treat others with respect daily. It eases tensions, builds trust, and fosters inclusivity. Show genuine appreciation for diverse perspectives to promote equity. Compassion. Act on understanding. Compassionate leaders address concerns with meaningful action, building trust and collaboration within teams. Vision. Connect daily tasks to the organization's direction. Inspire purpose, engagement, and trust through clear communication of the vision. Communication. Master various communication methods. Effective leaders transmit information, listen actively, and engage diverse audiences with clarity. Learning agility. Navigate unfamiliar territory adeptly. Cultivate a mindset of continuous learning for leadership excellence. Collaboration. Work effectively with diverse colleagues. Embrace collaboration for innovation, improved performance, and an empowered workforce. Influence. Wield influence authentically. Persuade with emotional intelligence and transparency to drive positive outcomes. Integrity. Uphold honesty and integrity. Leaders at all levels must prioritize integrity for organizational trust and success. Courage. Act with bravery. Foster psychological safety to encourage open communication and bold actions. Gratitude. Express appreciation regularly. Gratitude motivates teams and strengthens relationships for improved performance. Resilience. Adapt and project positivity. Prioritize personal and employee well-being to foster resilience and growth. A leader cannot show weakness to a group because it is infectious. If the leader breaks and becomes weak, then the group will break and become weak. The opposite is also true. A leader should know how to think and pay attention to the past, present, and future. He learns from past mistakes and voluntarily exposes himself to the worst things someone can know to prevent tragedy. Dr. Jordan Peterson best described it as having the skill to perceive what's right in front of you and potentially in every direction, coupled with the ability to use language effectively to bring order to chaos. If you look at the back of the American dollar bill, in top of the pyramid you'll find the Eye of Horus from the Egyptians. As you ascend the hierarchy, you gain the capacity to detach yourself from it, allowing you to navigate various hierarchies. The key skill being developed is the ability to pay attention. Pay attention to your behavior and ask yourself, do the things I do every day get me closer or further away from where I want to be in 5 years? Every hour does matter. Every hour you spend doing something you hate or regret or that is non-productive is an hour wasted that you will never get back. It is an hour not spent in cultivated discipline to master a skill you wish to possess. The key to finishing something you hate doing is pairing it with something you like doing. For example, do you not like going to the gym or studying? Then, pair it with listening to music while doing the activity. This is how I got my bachelor's degree and worked on this book. If you're sacrificing the present for the future, you see it as meaningful as future dopamine, but it is not hedonistic because it is not impulsive. If you don't have a goal, there is no positive emotion. What's an excellent goal? That's a good question. In my opinion, it depends on the individual level. It is what is meaningful to you, making the world less miserable. How do you know when you have mastered a skill and it's time to move on to something else? You know you have to leave your workplace when you become the most intelligent person in the room. This means that you have conquered the hierarchy. It is time for you to climb a different, more difficult ladder. Why would you want to do this? To keep positively transforming your character and getting your dopamine kicks out of dopamine. You get what you earn, not what you wish for. You do not get something for nothing. You deserve what you earn, not what you want. Stop feeling so entitled. The world doesn't owe you anything. If I die or you die, the world keeps on spinning. Accept that and move along with a positive outlook on life. What matters is what is meaningful to you. You don't need others to validate you. Everyone wants the cure for cancer, but only a few are willing to sacrifice time, money, and suffer to do the research. You must make sacrifices to get what you need and want. You have to do things you hate to do things you love. You have to delay your gratification for a more significant pleasure in the future. You never get something for nothing. Dreams can even come at the cost of nightmares. Or maybe you think you know what you want and dream of, but since you're so arrogant and ignorant, you're wishing a nightmare upon yourself. It's about negotiating with people, the future, family, and superiors. You sacrifice something of value for something of greater value. However, not all sacrifices are of equal worth. Don't deceive yourself by thinking that giving up the petty things in life will get you far in life. It is the greater sacrifices that get you far in life. You make sacrifices to have a better future. It means you genuinely care about yourself and others. It means you give up your present pleasures for future meaning and happiness. However, not all sacrifices are of equal worth. If you're in a profession for the money and more pleasure, then think again. It will leave you empty because you will be the one who is sacrificed. With a sacrifice, you're doing probability calculations. It is not a leap of faith because you can find objective knowledge to determine if specific sacrifices will pay you in high sums. Your loved ones, society, and especially your future self will thank you for sacrificing precious time for others. The higher the risk, the higher the reward. You're bargaining with yourself, time, and society, so play your cards correctly. This is the guidance of a map, the map you make after finding your strengths and weaknesses, after you've realized you know what you truly want. Discovery of the future also means you must work for the rest of your life because problems and liabilities keep stacking up. Working hard and being intelligent solves many issues, but you cannot overwork yourself because you will burn out, and the returns will diminish. This is the law of diminishing returns. A principle states that profits or benefits gained from something will represent a proportionally smaller gain as more money or energy is invested. This means you have to rest to recover. It will make you more productive. It's a compound interest. There's no point working for so much extra wealth when you can't enjoy it meaningfully when you are at work all week. Money can't fix all your problems. You want to be rich, but it comes with extra stress to keep up with what you have. If you wish to have the house, the car, and the expensive toys, you must work to keep them and pay those bills. Is it worth it? In my experience and from what I witnessed, no. Instead, I live within my means. I eat bread and water in times of peace rather than a feast in times of war. I enjoy the game of life for what it is. A painful dance that will make you fall, but it's so enjoyable that it makes you want to keep getting up, because it's worth trying to master. Once you understand the rhythm of the waltz, it becomes beautiful and enjoyable, but it must be earned. However, if we live the life of the conformist, it is very disappointing because you sense there's been a trick played on you. Indeed, there was a dreadful hoax making you overlook the essence of everything. We used to view life like a journey, a pilgrimage with a profound purpose at the end. Success, perhaps, or heaven after death. However, we missed the real point all along. Life is more like a musical experience. We were meant to sing or dance while the music played. What is the essence of a car? The purpose is to take you from point A to point B. Then why do you want a luxury or sport car when a cheap Toyota or Honda will get the job done? Because you need a car to perform its essence, but desire a status symbol to cure your insecurities. Or maybe you like the finer things in life because they are beautiful. You want to communicate to the world. Look at me. I have status. I'm rich because I drive this car. But the reality is that most people are renting the status symbol. A car is not yours till you pay it. Stop showing off objects you can't afford because people will see right through you and see how much you're actually in debt. Counting another person's money is disrespectful, but that's what you're inviting people to do when you buy things you can't afford. Don't get me wrong, if you can afford it, then go for it if you truly want it. The finer things in life, unfortunately, are more expensive, but if you're just buying it for a status symbol, then don't buy objects that you will use as tools to cover up your insecurities. Before we go any further, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm simply sharing the strategy I use to manage my money. I'm not an expert on accounting or finance. Your goals determine how you perceive the world. The goal gives relevance to the world. If you don't like how you perceive the world, change your goals. If you aim to get a high-paying career just for the money, then you will perceive the world as, I will either sell a product or provide a service for money. As an 18-year-old full-time student and a part-time employee, I didn't have a high-paying career, so I needed to find a way to manage my expenses. To this day, I still use the 50/40ths for 10% rule. Use the following to help better manage your finances and accounting skills. Split your income this way, and you will see how much money you have in your pocket. 50% should go to your needs: housing, food, transportation, medical expenses, and essential debt. 40% should go to your savings and investments. These could be an emergency fund, self-education, stock, rental, or properties. And finally, 10% of your income should go to your wants. Examples include eating out at restaurants, entertainment, vacation, luxury items, and electronics. One of the most significant flaws of poor people is that they confuse their wants for needs. The rich live like they are poor, and the poor live like they are rich. That's why they constantly whine about not having money. A lack of money does not cause poverty. Not knowing money management will keep you poor. What keeps you poor? Watching TV or being on your phone all day, not building up any hobbies, and having no passion for life. Always staying in your comfort zone and not taking risks, just waiting for miracles to occur, will keep you poor. Finally, blaming others and the arbitrariness of the universe for your mistakes and problems will keep you poor. The main thing standing in our way is ourselves for most of us. You need to believe that you can accomplish big things in your life. In the absence of supervision or correction when making mistakes, there's a tendency to assume you're doing things correctly by default. You think your framework of living is correct when your world is not falling apart while making errors. But people cannot even rule themselves and believe they are ready for marriage, to have kids, and to dictate how others should live their lives. This is profoundly flawed thinking. Most people are weak and give in to their impulses. For example, people make New Year's resolutions only to call it quits by the second week, or choose to busy themselves with mindless pleasures over learning new skills to better themselves. People are quick to make narcissistic excuses on why their situation is different and why they can't reach their goals. The reality is the rationalization for fear or laziness. This is choosing to be willingly blind, which naturally produces tragedies in a person's life. What is the cause? Cognitive dissonance or self-fulfilling prophecies. In the end, you're what you act out and not what you say you believe. If you're always being pessimistic and making excuses for why your life is miserable, then it will keep getting more miserable. However, the opposite is also true. If you believe you're blessed with a good life, your needs are met, and you have nothing to complain about, then more success and favorable fruits will come your way, either by your actions or the people you encounter. No rational mind wants to surround themselves with a miserable, pessimistic idiot who is at fault for his misery. Power should be given or earned in small doses. People can quickly become power drunk and not be trusted. People cowardly conform in comfort and expect great things to come to them. They want the sweet fruits of life but are not willing to plant the seeds or tend the gardens that grow those fruits. People cripple themselves by refusing to struggle, by refusing responsibility, thereby preventing them from reaching the best version of themselves. These individuals oppose grandiosity, resist embracing new experiences, and consequently miss out on the opportunities that life truly has to offer. Instead, many allow themselves to be possessed by animalistic instincts and do not question their place in the universe. We can choose to be animals or gods. People are social animals. You can teach them or put up with them. People fear taking the first step towards bettering themselves. It's a world of possibilities, but overwhelming options can lead to stagnation. We are full of potential and fear everything we could become. It is a character that determines our destiny. Psychologist Abraham Maslow used an apt term for this evasion of growth, this fear of realizing one's own fullest powers. He called it the Jonah syndrome. The Jonah complex is the fear of success, or being one's best. This fear stops people from reaching their full potential. It's basically being scared of being great, avoiding your destiny, or not using your talents. While the fear of doing your best can push you to grow, it can also hold you back. This fear can be triggered by various challenges like changing careers, starting new phases in life, moving to new places, facing interviews or auditions, and taking on new commitments like marriage. Other causes include the fear of responsibility that comes with recognizing your greatness, and the worry that an extraordinary life might be seen as too different or unacceptable to others. Additionally, people may fear appearing arrogant or self-centered, and find it hard to picture themselves as important or authoritative. Failure. Taking accountability for your failures is crucial. Blaming others for falling short of your goals is an easy but unproductive route. Whether it's choosing video games over studying or opting for a party instead of focusing on your goals, the decisions are yours. Your reactions to failure unveil your character, revealing maturity or immaturity. Responding with tantrums, denial, or blaming others shows a lack of readiness to accept responsibility. If comfort and security were prioritized over challenges, failure ensued, but redemption opportunities persist. In the race of life, some run just to survive, while others sprint to define normal. Learning pace varies, and you might learn slower, which isn't an excuse to cease trying or shifting blame. One of the most significant lessons I learned from learning English as my second language at the age of 7 was the importance of pushing oneself twice as hard as everyone else just to achieve a basic level. This experience taught me to surpass others. While you might be taking your time, comfortable with your current level, those who fell behind learned to overcome themselves and their challenges out of necessity. There is always someone out there pushing themselves harder than you. I remember feeling stupid, with teachers and kids treating me as such because I struggled to communicate anything. Yet, here I am, writing this book. It's incredibly ironic. Falling behind teaches necessity. Assuming you're pushing yourself, you will outperform others, particularly those who remain content with mediocrity. Old strategies and old tools that once got the job may not work forever. Adapting is essential. Failing at a goal often blinds us to the bigger picture. Missing out on a desired job or failing a crucial test may sting, but recognizing the gift of breath, life, and thought puts things in perspective. Be grateful for every moment. You could well end up in the hospital the next day half dead and never returning to your normal life the next day. That's reality. You'll never know when tragedy will strike you. Failure is inevitable. It's the response that speaks volumes about character. The ability to endure life's storms signifies strength. Ultimately, you have the power to say yes or no to your chosen path. Taking responsibility, especially for mistakes and failures, is a hallmark of courage, while avoidance is an act of cowardice. You can lose and go down as a warrior. You can die trying to aim for something better, such as meaning, or hide behind closed doors in luxury like a coward. No one can take away what you are. Your character and personality are your most profound treasures. Throughout history, the genius has always been rejected by an ignorant world that does not understand in the beginning. Eventually, the genius is recognized and celebrated. Successful stories are not successful immediately, and sometimes you will even have to wait till your death to be recognized. If it weren't for failure, I would not be the artist I am today. Why strive for self-improvement when surrounded by luxuries, comfort, and security? Such conditions were not my reality, given my humble beginnings in a low-income environment. Navigating and working for basic necessities became essential for both my own survival and that of my family. The choice of indulging in luxuries, comfort, and security was simply not an option for me. Consider this. Harrison Ford, at 30, was a carpenter. Vera Wang didn't craft her first dress until she reached 40. Oprah, at 23, got fired, obviously before she was Oprah. The lesson here is that as young individuals, You're in a hurry to become someone without truly understanding who you are. Firing Oprah wasn't a mistake, it was about her not being the Oprah we know today. Sometimes, failures are necessary stepping stones toward success. These great people achieved greatness out of necessity. Necessity builds stress and forces you to think of a solution. Failure becomes your light in pitch-black darkness. Remember to never underestimate the power of necessity. Jordan Peterson and Andrew Huberman on pornography. One of the main factors that are destroying young men nowadays is the ease of access and the excess use of pornography. Masturbating and ejaculating can be highly addictive, like cocaine or heroin. It has the power to ruin and rewire your brain because you're rewarding yourself for not doing anything that requires effort. This creates the counter-ideal of a disciplined individual. If you stop or decrease the frequency of masturbating, then you train your brain to delay your gratification. You want to do this because you're training yourself to understand that the high-value rewards are earned and challenging to obtain, not easy. Self-control is what creates men and strong-willed, mature adults, not hedonism. I found this very insightful discussion on YouTube between neuroscientist Andrew D. Huberman and psychologist Jordan Peterson discussing the adverse effects of pornography and masturbating. The faster you become aware of this, the quicker you can prevent a significant train wreck. I learned the following directly from the source. Neuroscience Meets Psychology, Dr. Andrew Huberman, EP 296. One of the unhealthy situations for any being, animal or human, is accessing repeated dopamine surges without effort or purposeful pursuit, meaning no sacrifice for obtaining something of high value. Examples include drugs like cocaine or methamphetamine, where the pleasure is gained without adaptive action. The issue lies in reinforcing only the drug-seeking behavior, neglecting other healthy behaviors. When it comes to concerns about masturbation and pornography, the impact is notable. Engaging in these activities, particularly with potent stimuli on a screen, reinforces voyeuristic behavior and can lead to issues like sexual dysfunction. The cascade of sexual arousal and orgasm involves a shift from parasympathetic to sympathetic nervous system activity. Excessive engagement in masturbation and pornography can tap into the dopamine system, potentially undermining the natural processes of finding a mate, including dating, communication, and healthy sexual interaction. Seeking sexual release through these means can create an open loop of neurochemicals, leading to an amotivated state and depleting the dopamine system, akin to the patterns observed in drug abuse and addiction. The key lies in understanding the balance and avoiding excessive peaks in dopamine unrelated to effort or self-organization, as such patterns can be detrimental to one's well-being. Hedonism and sadism. What happens when you only pursue pleasure? What happens when you can't derive pleasure from pleasure any longer? You start pursuing more intense feelings to make you feel alive, such as pain. This turns you into a sadist, taking pleasure, especially sexual satisfaction, from causing pain, suffering, or humiliation to others is known as sadism. English philosopher and writer Alan Watts asks, "What do you desire? If you do not know, then you need to answer the question, what would you do if money were no object? How would you enjoy spending your life?" When we dig deeper into our true desires, we arrive at our dreams. For many of us, it could be a childhood dream. To put it mildly, it's a subject that lies in the humanities, like music, art, and poetry. Forget the money. If money is atop your hierarchy of values, then it will have dominion over every aspect of your life. You will be working a job you hate to buy things you don't need. Then they will end up owning you financially and symbolically, because your identity will depend on those things you own. This is stupid, especially when we teach our kids the same pattern of empty pleasures. If I cannot have both a long and happy life, I choose to embrace a short, joyous existence filled with the activities and people I love, rather than enduring a prolonged, miserable one. It doesn't matter what it is. You can eventually master what you love doing if you focus on it. Since you love it, it won't feel like work, but like play. We need to ask, what do I desire? When we think deeply, we conclude that we wish to control everything. Technological power is an endless power that prevents us from delaying our gratification, as a result becoming what Nietzsche calls the last man. However, if you experience and think about it, you do not want full control over it. Full control over things leads to a fully predictable future. A future devoid of surprises renders itself a mere reflection of the past, encapsulating a life that has already unfolded its chapters and ventured beyond the realms of anticipation. You want a pleasant surprise. However, you also risk getting unpleasant surprises, but it's worthwhile. Surprises are exciting because they are unpredictable and unexpected. No sensible person would want absolute power and control. The counter-argument would be that you do not want power because you refuse the responsibility of it, since a good, moral person would use it for the benefit of all. But if you ask people, what do you want to do with absolute power? They don't know what they truly want at heart. What happens when given absolute power? People, unprepared for such authority, often resort to short-term pleasures, leading to confusion and cognitive dissonance. The Western obsession with control drives the pursuit of various luxuries, conditioning the mind for addiction and eventually exploring pain. In the quest for pleasure's ultimate limit, one may find themselves in a metaphorical hell, stemming from a lack of understanding one's desires and reaching a state of desirelessness. According to Alan Watts, there are 3 stages of not knowing what you want. The first stage is when you haven't thought about it thoroughly or think about it superficially. The middle stage is when you think you know what you want, but it is everything that the media, your culture, government, etc. have forcibly reinforced. Examples include wanting money, status, and luxuries. But after you experience the riches in the middle stage, you realize you still feel empty, and it is not what you want, which leads to saying, I do not know what I want. In the third stage, why don't you know what you want? It can be due to 2 reasons. Reason 1, you already have what you want, or reason number 2, you do not know yourself because you never can. The essence of the divine is never the subject of its own awareness. Just as a knife doesn't cut itself, fire doesn't burn itself, and light doesn't illuminate itself. Embracing I don't know parallels love, letting go, and refraining from attempts to force or control. This attitude aligns with humility. Releasing the grip on oneself allows access to power, as the energy spent in self-defense and attempts to control dissipates, granting a more harmonious existence. You lose the divine energy when you try to control everything because of the energy wasted in self-defense. We must take time to reflect on our lives, dissect ourselves thoroughly to find out our purpose, happiness, and meaning. With patience, we earn the most difficult things in life. I count him braver who overcomes his desires than him who conquers his enemies, for the hardest victory is the victory over self. Aristotle. It's not an easy task to have self-control, delay your gratification, sacrifice and compromise to reach your full potential. Most people are comfortable with being average at something, but if you're getting paid for something, why not become great at it? If you're great at doing a job you hate, imagine how great you would be at doing a job you love. The more valuable you become, the more successful people you'll attract, and will help bolster your climb in every aspect in your life, even in your romantic life. Don't settle for a level of mediocrity and call it happiness or meaning. Patience and making the right sacrifices will always lead to success.